All right, here is Aztec head football coach Rocky Long to tell us what the Aztecs got on National Signing Day. Hi, Coach.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing really good. Yourself?
Well, I'm doing good, and like every other football coach in America, I'm going to tell you what great players we got.
Well, of course you did. I mean, superstars. You win the national championship next year.
Maybe tomorrow we will.
There you go.
Hey, by the way, real quick, before we even talk about this, football coach's mind, what did you think at the end of the Super Bowl?
I understand completely where the thought process came from. And because you have 3 plays with one timeout left, you might need all 3 plays to score a touchdown, so you got to figure out the best way to make sure you get 3 plays. Now, some people will run it on that second down play and then throw a pass and call timeout and throw a pass on third down in order to give them a chance for a fourth down play. Some of them will throw it on second down in order to make sure they have a chance to run it twice. I understand the thought process, and you're a complete genius if it works, and you're a real dummy when it doesn't.
Absolutely.
Right. But it's interesting. You can understand the thought process, but what about identity of your team, who you are, what got you there?
Well, he knows their team a whole lot better than I do, so I wouldn't even speculate.
Well, I mean, but I can tell you that they were the number 1 rushing offense in the entire NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you have 4 wide receivers or 3 wide receivers in there, and the other side has their goal line package in there, I don't care how good that guy is, he's probably not going to score.
Jeez, really? Wow, interesting to hear you say that. I acknowledge how much football you know and how little football I know, but I respectfully completely disagree.
Well, that's what makes it fun.
Okay, good.
I don't mind you disagreeing. There's a whole bunch of people disagree with me all the damn time.
That's right. That's right, we do. Especially during that Poinsettia Bowl this year. What were you? Okay, forget it. All right. Rock, let's talk. Rocky, what did you get today? Because we're all reading about these kids, and a lot of kids from the state of Texas.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Well, I mean, when we changed our coaching staff around and some coaches, we changed the staff, and in the process of finding new coaches, the recruiting process ended up going to fewer guys. And we did not change their areas of recruiting. And Jeff Horton, who's now our new offensive coordinator, has he's our Texas recruiter. Well, he worked his tail off and made up for some recruiters that we didn't have on the road and had great success in Texas. So that's why it seems to be loaded that way, because the guy did a great job of recruiting.
And it's not listen, when I heard that, Rocky, I was going, well, yeah, that's where they play the best high school football, and so they'll get some good players out of Texas.
Well, I mean, we recruit there every year, and we'll continue to recruit there. But, I mean, we missed out on some spots that we normally get players from because the coaches that normally recruit that spot weren't here any longer, and we were in the process of hiring new coaches, so those spots kind of got underutilized.
Mm-hmm. Aztec football coach Rocky Long on Scott and BR on the Mighty 1090 talking National Signing Day. Now, Billy Ray says the best high school football is played in Texas, and that comes from a former Texas high school state champion himself.
Right.
I would have you believe that perhaps the best high school football is in South Florida, but there's plenty of people tuning in this afternoon that say, what about right here in our own backyard? And when people look at this list, they go, wow, there's only 2 guys from San Diego. Again, I'll ask, how does that happen?
That's a process of how many Division I football players, in our estimation, are in the county. And this year there weren't quite as many as there normally are. And Pac-12 got their normal share. Even the Pac-12 and the Big 12, who usually takes a lot of players out of here, you'll notice that even those guys didn't get as many kids out of San Diego as they normally get.
And off the top of your head,
I would disagree in recruiting. It's not necessarily where they play the best football. There's more good football players in California than any other state in the country because of the population.
Real quick, off the top of your head, and I'm not going to hold you to this number, but how many Division I college scholarships will San Diego County get?
In football?
Yeah. Just a guess.
I'm just guessing. Maybe this. Normally it's 15 to 20. I'm guessing this year it's 10 to 12.
Wow. Man, that is the numbers are staggering.
Really are.
You know, I mean, I estimated earlier that there's probably 20,000 kids playing high school football in San Diego, and 10 of them are Division I scholarship kids. That seem reasonable? Those numbers seem about right?
The numbers that I've always been told, for every 100,000 population, there is 1 to 2 Division I athletes.
That is really amazing.
Wow.
Now, one of the kids from here in San Diego is a wide receiver out of Torrey Pines. This kid, Bailey. What's he all about?
Jack Bailey was a really good player that has been in our passing tournaments in the past. In fact, we do this with local kids. It doesn't always hold true, but it did in this case. We offered him after his sophomore year, after we saw him in one of our passing tournaments. He's tall, he's lanky, he runs well, he goes up and catches the ball, he's a good basketball player. That's what's best about this class. We have multi-sport athletes in this class, more so than any other class we had. We offered him as a sophomore. We've been recruiting him ever since. He's been recruited or tried to been recruited by a lot of people, and he hung tough and is loyal to us, and we're glad he was.
Boy, Rocky, when I'm looking at the list, I mean, the weight just jumps right off the page. The 275, 315, 350, 340. You got some big guys, Rocky.
Our offensive line that we recruited averages a little over 6'5", and averages right at 320 pounds. There's 2 junior college guys in that group, but there's the rest of them. There's 6 of them. The rest of them are high school kids, and I love big linemen. I mean, I absolutely love big linemen, and if they have the right attitude, they're road graders, and we have really good running backs, and I think you should play to the running backs, and maybe we would have gone for it in the Super Bowl. We'd have run our guys in there.
Coach, what about this kid? He's a quarterback who, check me on this, is he transferring in from the University of Kentucky?
Yes, sir. He's a graduate, and so he can transfer and be immediately eligible. He's from Southern California, went there, started as a freshman and a redshirt freshman, hurt his shoulder, new coaching staff, and never really was the starter from then on out. So he's going to compete to be our starting quarterback.
Does a guy like that seem appealing to you? In other words, a guy who only has 1 year of eligibility, or would your preference be to cultivate a young, homegrown sort of talent?
Well, we have a couple freshmen in our program that I think have a lot of talent, but I think we needed an older guy. We have Jake Rodriguez, who's a transfer from Oregon. We have a guy, Adam Wood, that's transferring in from a junior college. We thought we needed an older, more mature guy to at least compete to be the starting quarterback. And then our 2 freshmen will have a chance to develop where they can take the reins and be the starting quarterback, hopefully for 3 years.
And I got to, Coach, I got to ask you about the kid from Arkansas, from Siloam Springs, Parker Baldwin.
Of course you do.
I know. I mean, it's incumbent on me to ask you about him.
We got lucky.
Yeah.
One of our new coaches, Bobby Houck, knows the family and was recruiting him to UNLV when he was the head coach there. So he had a previous relationship with the young man, and so we obviously started recruiting him. He's a jack of all trades. He plays linebacker, he plays safety, he plays wide receiver, he plays running back, he plays wildcat quarterback. He was the runner-up in the 100 state 100 last year. He was the state 200 champ. He's the favorite to win the 100 and the 200 this year, and so he's a fairly tall, big, fast guy, and you can't have too many of them.
Nope. Wow, that sounds good. How about this other kid? That the way it was written in today's paper was the linebacker, the 4-star guy, according to Rivals.com. I don't know how to say this kid's name. Kayava Tizino?
That's close. That's close.
How is it?
Tizino was, now, this means we're getting better, and our guys did a great job recruiting, but I'm not a believer in stars. Because there's a lot of 4-star guys that don't end up being good players, and there's a lot of 2-star guys that end up being great players. Mm-hmm. But he was actually committed to Washington State, was recruited by a lot of people in the Pac-12, and our coaches did a good job, and basically he came on a trip, and we turned him. And we had another guy just sign later on in the afternoon, Deshaun Holmes. He had his press conference, which drives me crazy. But
come on, let these kids have their time.
He had a press conference at 2:30 and decommitted from USC and signed with San Diego State.
Wow, really? And
that's awesome.
What position does that kid play?
He's a wide receiver.
What's his name?
Deshaun Holmes.
Really? Where's he out of?
He's out of L.A.
Really? Gave up USC to come to San Diego State?
He decommitted from USC and signed with San Diego State. Yep.
You say why?
That's great.
I guess he liked us better.
Yeah. Hey, that's great news. I mean, you take a kid from Washington State that's got offers from Arizona and Arizona State and UCLA, and then you take a kid from USC. That's awesome. That's great news.
Yeah, I think we're doing a little bit better. We're in a lot more homes, and we're fighting with those kind of people a lot more. We're not winning as many as we want to, but we're fighting with them a lot more than we used to.
All right, gotcha. And you don't like the press conferences, and you don't like all the social media, and you don't like these kids having their day, huh?
Well, I don't mind them having their day, but a press conference, are you kidding me? And I just had a team meeting, and I told all our players that we had a really good recruiting class. Now, when they get here in the summer, I expect them to beat them up and make them tough.
Yeah. Right. Rocky, great talking to you. Congratulations on what seems like a really nice recruiting class.
Yeah, way to go,
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
All right, we're looking forward to talking to you soon. Take care.
Thanks, Rock.
Bye.
All right, Coach Rocky Long, San Diego State.
That's great.
Hey, that's an interesting story. I didn't know that. Kid is committed to USC, goes to his press conference, and goes, no, I'm not going to USC. I'm going to San Diego State. That's a big deal.